The org chart tells you the official hierarchy. The power structure is something completely different. And operating without knowing the difference is why most people lose games they did not know they were playing. You have been trained to navigate corporate environments by looking at titles, nameplates, and organizational charts. You believe that the individual with the senior executive designation, the corner office, and the highest clearance level is the sole node of decision-making authority within the ecosystem. This is a profound, baseline error, a delusion carefully maintained to keep the lower tiers running in predictable, administrative loops. The true rulers of human institutions understand that formal hierarchy is often nothing more than a defensive shield, a theatrical performance designed to absorb public liability while the actual gears of control are manipulated from the shadows. In the geography of power, authority is fluid. It does not reside inside a designated box on a corporate spreadsheet. It tracks the path of least cognitive resistance, information asymmetry, and structural dependency. To enter any high-stakes room, a boardroom negotiation, an executive alignment, or a capital allocation council, without a precise, decoded map of the informal power dynamic is an act of strategic suicide. You are a blind actor stepping onto an activated minefield. The individual who holds the official title is frequently a hostage to the infrastructure around them, completely dependent on informal nodes who control what data they consume, whose approval they seek, and who they consult before an absolute directive is finalized. If you are currently pitching assets, attempting to secure promotions, or defending your territory based on the formal rankings of your organization, you are running a broken script. You are leaving your execution to chance. To survive, you must learn how to look past the performance of rank and track the raw, invisible architecture of actual control. Let us strip away the official corporate titles and map the forensic reality of the room. To survive within highly competitive institutional networks, you must first execute an unyielding mental purge of the corporate narrative surrounding hierarchy. The common population views an organization as a clean, pyramid-like structure where commands flow down from the apex and accountability flows up from the baseline. In the clinical underground of power dynamics, this model is recognized as an illusion. Every human institution contains two completely separate, parallel architectures, the formal power structure and the informal power topology. The formal structure is public, documented, and rigid. It exists to satisfy legal compliance, institutional optics, and the ego demands of middle management. It is a slow, bureaucratic layout that gives the appearance of order. The informal power topology is invisible, fluid, and lethal. It is built exclusively on real-time dependency, relationship proximity, and the control of critical information bottlenecks. A supreme operator does not look at a vice president and assume dominance. They look at the environment and ask a diagnostic question: who depends on whom for their survival? There are environments where a mid-level director or a specialized consultant holds exponentially more actual control over a project's outcome than the senior executive who signs the official authorization. This happens because the executive lacks the cognitive capacity or the time to process the technical variables of the asset. They have become a functional rubber stamp, dependent entirely on the informal node to tell them what to believe, what to fear, and what choice is safe. If you direct your persuasion, your alignment, and your tracking strategies exclusively toward the person with a high title, you invite immediate failure. You are targeting a prop. You are ignoring the hidden hand that controls the prop's movements. To secure a permanent advantage, you must learn to look through the corporate theater and identify the informal nodes who hold the actual leverage over the decision-making engine. The first tactical sensor you must deploy to map an invisible power structure is the clinical tracking of the information map. Power always follows the path of information flow. Information is the raw fuel of executive decision-making. The individual who sits at the apex of an organization cannot see the field with their own eyes. They are trapped inside an administrative vacuum, dependent entirely on the streams of data that are fed into their terminal. Therefore, the person who controls the curation, the filtering, the timing, and the framing of that data holds absolute strategic dominance over the outcome. To map this asset network, you must look past the official communication channels, the broad corporate emails, the public dashboards, and the bi-weekly status updates. These are historical data repositories. They are useless for real-time power tracking. You must map the informal corridors. You must identify exactly who briefs the decision-maker before they enter the formal meeting room. Who manages their schedule? Who has the authority to send an unrecorded text message directly to their personal terminal at midnight? Who summarizes the complex engineering reports into a 3-bullet-point executive brief? This is the identification of the data gatekeepers. When you find the individual who writes the executive summary, you have found the person who dictates the leader's reality. If a gatekeeper possesses a personal bias, a strategic agenda, or a dark triad orientation, they can systematically alter the executive's choices without ever telling a single explicit lie. They simply introduce noise into the transmission loop. They delay a competitor's report by 48 hours. They highlight a single risk factor in an opposing proposal while framing their preferred option as a mathematical inevitability. The executive at the top believes they are making an independent, rational choice, completely blind to the fact that their entire cognitive processing was guided into that specific corner by the curation of the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper owns the information map, and the person who owns the map always dictates the destination. The second tactical sensor requires the objective documentation of the relationship topology. Human beings are social apex predators. Their alignment patterns always reveal their hierarchy more accurately than any official document. When you enter an executive meeting room, an alignment council, or a high-stakes negotiation, you must immediately turn off your attention to the spoken words. The spoken dialogue is a performed script, engineered to project professional consensus and corporate harmony. You must focus your observation exclusively on the nonverbal behavioral cues of the room's actors. Track the consultation loops. When a controversial point is raised, an aggressive challenge is made, or a sudden metric shift is displayed, do not look at the person who is speaking. Look at the other actors. Whose faces do they monitor before they choose their reaction? To whom do their eyes automatically dart to check for a signal of approval or displeasure? This instant, automated glance is an evolutionary submission reflex. The human brain is wired to check the orientation of the dominant alpha in the pack before it risks an individual alignment. If the formal chart says person A is the leader, but every individual in the room instinctively looks at person B before they nod, speak, or challenge an idea, person B is the actual power holder in that room. Their silent reaction dictates the parameters of acceptable consensus. Furthermore, you must track the informal consultation patterns outside the boardroom calendar. Map the configurations of who eats together, who leaves the facility together, and who holds unrecorded pre-alignment alignments in closed offices before the formal vote occurs. If an executive systematically consults a specific peer or advisor before making a final commitment, if they look for their validation to calm their own internal anxiety, that advisor holds a structural veto over your goals. You cannot win the executive without first neutralizing or capturing the advisor, because the executive's psychological security is bound to the advisor's perspective. To understand how these invisible power topologies operate with absolute, lethal efficiency in high-stakes environments, one must perform an industrial autopsy on documented historical cases, where blind reliance on formal ranking resulted in complete systemic destruction. Consider the disastrous military and corporate intelligence failure of the Bay of Pigs invasion during the John F. Kennedy administration. On paper, the newly elected president was the supreme commander of the United States state apparatus. He held the absolute constitutional authority to approve, alter, or terminate any covert operation launched by the nation's intelligence networks. But the actual power structure within the Security Council was completely dominated by an informal network led by CIA Director Allen Dulles and specialized military planners. These operators did not challenge Kennedy's formal rank, they managed his information environment. They systematically isolated the young president from independent military analysts who had flagged the invasion plan as a mathematical impossibility. They curated the intelligence data, presenting the Cuban resistance forces as a highly organized, desperate vanguard ready to revolt the moment a single American asset landed. They intentionally compressed the decision-making timeline, forcing Kennedy into a corner where he had to make a binary choice under intense psychological pressure. The formal ruler signed the execution order based on a reality that had been completely manufactured for him in the dark corridors of the intelligence community. The result was an immediate, catastrophic military liquidation, proving that a leader who is trapped inside an unmanaged information vacuum is nothing more than a functional tool of the informal nodes who control the transmission lines. Look at the corporate landscape. Look at the historical downfall of Lehman Brothers during the 2008 financial collapse under Dick Fuld. Fuld was the absolute monarch of the investment bank. His title was undisputed, his authority was absolute, and his executive style was notoriously aggressive. But the informal power topology within Lehman Brothers had created a toxic, closed-loop echo chamber. Fuld was completely dependent on a tiny, inner circle of loyal executives who systematically filtered out the warnings of their own risk management teams. Independent analysts inside the firm had mapped the imminent collapse of the subprime mortgage portfolio months before the liquidity run began. But the informal network blocked that data from ever reaching Fuld's terminal. They reframed the risk analysts as alarmists, short-term thinkers, or parasites who lacked the vision to handle the bank scale. Fuld sat in his premium office, radiating an aura of absolute corporate dominance, completely unaware that his strategic worldview was built on a vacuum of curated lies. By the time reality bypassed his gatekeepers and hit his bank directly, the capital reserve was already empty. The formal king was bankrupted because he failed to realize that the informal network around him had cut his sensors off from the real field. Once you have successfully decoded the actual, informal power topology of your environment, you must execute a cold, calculated shift from tactical naivety to structural positioning. Stop wasting your human labor trying to impress, persuade, or seek validation from individuals whose titles are large but whose structural leverage is hollow. That is an amateur move that expends your energy on a prop. You must direct your assets exclusively toward the actual anchors of control. The first directive for elite positioning is the systematic capture of the information nodes. Do not attempt to climb the formal chart through traditional administrative compliance. Instead, make yourself indispensable to the informal gatekeepers who manage the executive's reality. Identify the data pipelines. Become the source of unique, high-value, and unmapped intelligence that the gatekeepers require to maintain their own relevance with the leader. If you control what data the gatekeeper trusts, you indirectly inject your strategic parameters straight into the executive's prefrontal cortex, without ever having to sit in their private office. The second directive is the establishment of multi-layered utility alliances with the informal consultation anchors. Understand their specific incentive matrix, their personal blind spots, and their hidden professional anxieties. Position your workflows so that their association with your assets systematically elevates their perceived status in the eyes of the formal leader. You are not trying to replace them or challenge their proximity to the throne. That triggers immediate defensive warfare. You are providing them with the exact ammunition they need to look brilliant during the pre-alignment alignments. By becoming the hidden engine behind the advisor's authority, you secure an invisible, ironclad protection mechanism for your own trajectory. This is the supreme state of power dynamics execution. You let the formal titles take the public spotlight, handle the bureaucratic noise, and absorb the structural liability of the enterprise, while you operate quietly in the shadow corridors, managing the information flow, directing the consultation patterns, and dictating the outcomes. The amateur fights for the title on the nameplate. The ruler captures the network that moves the pen. Act accordingly. In your current organization, when the most important decisions are actually being made, are you in the room? And if not, do you know who is?